Well, I'm sure there's abuses on both sides. Okay, I'm trying not to get into current events. I want this to be timeless, so people could go through this 5 years later and say, okay, that all makes sense. Then again, we might have to redo this next year after everything gets uncovered. Who knows the whole scope of everything? So yet rules for thee, not for me, that kind of a thing. That seems to be a theme in late the current events lately. Um, Alonzo asked a good question. Does SSDI pay retroactive in many cases? I don't believe so. I think once they approve it, that's when your income starts, or rather, it might start for the next month, for the next time they start paying claims. So if you get approved in the middle of the month, we're in the middle of February, you finally start getting your income in March or maybe April. You might have to skip a month. That's my thinking, but I do not have direct experience. Mike, I'm going to defer to you.
It's a fair question. I think that as far as I know, the answer that you gave is correct. There maybe could be some situations where that could apply, but generally speaking, once it's approved is when it starts paying. I've never heard myself personally of an instance where they went back and paid retroactively, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen or it can't happen. But I've never seen it or heard of it personally, because in my experience, I waited several months to file, and they didn't give me any SSDI for the months that I was missing per se. So
I'd be curious if someone had claimed or they fought for their claims through an attorney, and maybe through that process there might be a retroactive back pay based on when they were originally eligible and or whatever. I can only imagine something like that being through a legal process. I don't know. But it's a good question. And that would be one that if you've got somebody that is really wondering about that, I check with an attorney. Because if anybody can make the federal government do something, it would be a court. Maybe. Current events notwithstanding. So, um, so anyway, yeah, the process. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I Googled it on my phone just because I'm curious. And the all-knowing Google says Social Security Disability, SSDI, can pay back benefits for the time before you were approved for benefits. This is called retroactive back pay. So it does exist.
Okay. Beautiful. You can tell we don't focus on this. We know enough to be dangerous, and we know enough that if it should come up in conversation, we're going to refer them to the Social Security office. They're going to go through all that. What's interesting, though, is that Social Security will not give advice. I remember hearing about this. I've never been to the Social Security office. I've had no reason to. But the thing is that, like, if you're trying to claim benefit, and this is especially true for retirement planning and such, you go to the Social Security office, they're going to tell you, here's what your options are. You choose. Or here, they're going to tell you, this is what it is. You pick. They're not going to give you advice. They're not going to tell you what to do. Hopefully, they explain everything fully. But they're not going to do a whole lot of explanation for you. Their job is to process forms.
Yeah, it's almost like going to court and asking for a form for something. They'll give you the form. They're not going to help you fill it out, though, right? If you want help filling it out, you need to maybe hire an attorney, or in a case like this, maybe you would need an attorney or a financial advisor or something to help you with that. But
or someone with a power of attorney, with a durable power. And we'll get into a little bit of that in later, because we're talking about estate planning documents. That's part of that, where you have a representative that is legally able to sign for you, especially if you're in an incapacitated kind of a state. So, there's different things, and there's ways within the law that helps to get these things processed. I'm sorry, I didn't know if you had any other thoughts on that one. So no, that's disability.
You're actually a little laggy, or you were. I don't know if you caught up yet or not.
I think so. I noticed that. So anyway, that's
there's
that
still,
one. Now,
there's still a little lag, but it's okay.
I can't do anything about it. All right.